morning. I wanted to share what the Lord was speaking to me this morning. And it's not really a great, deep revelation. It's really elementary, but I don't think that I had ever really, I knew it, but I hadn't thought about it. So I had it as a knowledge, but I don't think I understood it deeply. And this morning, he just gave it to me. We're used to, in deliverance and reconciliation ministry, we are used to laying the axe to the root of a bad thing, right? We'll say, we lay the axe to the root of it. We dig it up by its roots. We don't just deal with the surface level issue. We deal with it at its root. And this morning I was praying and asking the Lord to protect the soil of my heart and protect the word, the seeds of his word that's been there, and to cause the soil of my heart to enclose and encompass the seed of his word, that it would grow roots. And I began to meditate on that, Lord. Lord, let your word grow roots in my heart. And I began to realize that the roots that when we're ministering to someone and we're saying we take it out by the root, do you know how those seeds got into your heart? Do you know how you got roots to shame in your heart and roots to bitterness in your heart? By somebody's words. Every root that's ungodly in your heart that has to be ripped out and destroyed comes from somebody's word. It may just be the enemy's word in your own head. It may be the enemy's word in your own heart. It may be your parents' words. It may be your spouse's words. It may be a teacher's word from when you were little that called you stupid. It may be your own words. But somebody's words lied to you. Somebody's words put a false identity on you that has caused, when you deal with that, when we deal with ministry, I'm not speaking that over you, by the way. Let me just clear that right now. I am not speaking that over you. But people who have to get deliverance, people who have to get help from someone to cast a demon out of them, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Someone who has to get help tearing down a stronghold, so that that spirit has nowhere to dwell. A lie is having to be changed for the root to be tore down at the root. The lie that you believed, or that person believed, I'm not speaking over you, the lie that person believed that gave the enemy access, the Bible calls it giving him place. It's when you believe a lie. It's when you believe something that's not true and you believe it as a truth. I'll give you a good example. When I minister unto somebody who's sick in their body, and they believe that God gave them that sickness to teach them a lesson, and that in God's sovereignty, he chose to do that, and he knows better than they do, and his ways are higher than theirs, so they just don't question it. So now they've accepted that sickness as something that God has given them, that it's from him. That's a stronghold. And guess what lives because of the root of that lie that they believe? Infirmity gets to be there. The orphan spirit gets to be there. You know why? Because they can't possibly believe that their father's a good father. And if he'll give them this sick disease to teach them a lesson, what else can the enemy slide in and do to them? That they'll label God and they'll accept it and they won't even fight it. They'll go to the doctor and get medicine, which I've never understood that one. Why are you going to go to the doctor and get medicine for a sickness that you believe God gave to you to teach you a lesson? Isn't that rebellion? Anyways, I kid. But my point is, when you have to cut something off at the root, you have to tear down that stronghold. You have to tear down that lie. The lie in that situation would be that God never gives you sickness to teach you a lesson. As a matter of fact, all the way back into the old covenant, from the very beginning, he's showing us how he made a way out from sickness because he's not the one that caused it. And so once you destroy that lie and you begin to show then infirmity and sickness, you're no longer in agreement with it. That's what it means to be in agreement with something. So when you're tearing it down at the root, you're taking away what you've agreed with. You're taking away the lie and replacing it with a truth. And so I just got to thinking about that today. What words have you spoken over yourself? What words has the enemy spoken over you? What words has someone else spoken over you that you've taken as your identity, that you've believed as a truth, and it's become a root in your heart? But more importantly, take the word of God. Find out what he says about you, about your situations, about your finances, about your health, about your physical body, about your soul, your mind, your heart. Find out what he says is in your spirit. Find out what the word of God says happened to you when you received Jesus. Find out what the word of God says about you when you accept that what happened on the cross, it truly is finished. It's a finished work that was already done, and all you have to do is receive it and let it take root in your heart. Imagine how that would affect you. If receiving the roots of a lie affects people so horribly in their mind, so horribly in who they think they are, and affects their actions, how much more would allowing the word of God take root in your heart, letting those roots get in and affect you? I hope that blessed you as much as it did me this morning.